Hey everybody, here we are back again. Same show, different setting, same people. Hoping everybody's having a great time with everything we're putting out. I really hope you guys enjoyed Brother Pasquarilla's episode with us. We had a blast with that one. And here we are again with Brother Ryan Brown.
Hey everybody.
And Brother Jonathan Mitchell.
How's it going?
Man, how you guys doing today?
Man, I'm doing fine. Got through the White Death again.
Yeah.
I talked to my cousin. He lives out in Kentucky, and of course they're going through all that flooding and stuff. Which our prayers are for all those that have lost their homes, been misplaced. Some people's lost their lives. It's tragic. But I looked at the weather today, and they started calling for them snowstorms. And I hate to say it, I hate it for them, but I'm glad we're not getting it.
Yeah, we got a lot of it on Sunday, and I can't believe that it actually stuck with all the water we had.
Yeah,
it was it's just so cold. I'm ready for the cold to be over.
Really?
I'm sorry. We're in a new setup right now, and I'm getting comfortable in the setup. So you may hear me rattle some things around. I'm sorry, Brother Sean.
Well, you can't edit it out now because you've announced it.
That's fine.
This is raw.
Well, I tend to be the one that points out the obvious. It's one of my many quirks. Remember the last time we had an ad, I made sure to point out that it wasn't an actual ad, even though it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
We're all about transparency here at the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you see is what you get, or what you hear is what you get, I guess.
I guess so. We are who we is.
Yeah. Are you guys enjoying the new studio?
I think it's cool. I like it.
Yeah. You took away my chair.
It's in the back room if you want it back. It's not that big a deal.
Got me a new one. Got adjusted to it. You know,
It's still comfortable.
I just got to bring an ottoman to prop my feet up.
Well, if that's close proximity, we all have to share one ottoman.
Just get one big one and just place it right here. That would be interesting.
Just get a big old coffee table. And
It would look like we're playing footsies
You just
your time.
just hear some snoring on my end because for sure this old man will start taking a nap.
I have to change the show name to Sleep and Slumber.
You just made me think of a band or like a bluegrass group called they were the Sleepy Man Banjo Boys. It was like they were really big. See, everybody, this is another weird fact about me. I love the banjo. It's my favorite instrument, period. And this was like 10 years ago. I came across these kids. It was a group of brothers. They didn't sing, but they played music. And this kid, the reason why they can't call themselves the Sleepy Man Banjo Boys is the banjo player was like small.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that.
And basically, when he would play the banjo, the banjo's so heavy, he would have to like lean back and play it, and it looked like he was sleeping. So they called themselves the Sleepy Man Banjo Boys.
I didn't know that.
That's just a weird fact, right?
They were
there.
a family band, weren't?
Yeah, they were three brothers. One played acoustic guitar, one played the fiddle, and then the other one was the banjo.
It's pretty cool.
They
I
were
like the banjo.
they were like on David Letterman, if that's still even a thing. But back in the day, he went on David Letterman and all that stuff. It was actually pretty crazy for bluegrass to be kind of mainstream like that. So,
Bluegrass is more mainstream than people think it is.
really?
Yeah.
See, every time I talk to somebody about bluegrass, they either love it or they
Oh yeah,
hate it.
there is no in between with bluegrass. Bluegrass, I don't think there's ever anybody that just says I tolerate it. If you find anybody like that, it's very few and far between. Bluegrass is one of those deals that you have to love it to listen to it, or you just, like my mom, she absolutely hates blue. If I want to run my mom off, all I have to do is turn bluegrass on.
So I don't listen to any of the singing. I love the instrumental versions of bluegrass because everything, which I think it kind of goes alongside with like blues and jazz and stuff like that. Most of the songs are pretty sad and depressing.
Well, I listen to only gospel bluegrass.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like original.
I'm an Isaacs fan.
I listen to gospel jazz, you know.
Yeah. Whatever. Okay.
Gospel blues.
Jesus funk.
I'm just saying. I do.
That's DC talk, ain't it? The Jesus Funk.
don't know.
They had a song called Jesus Freak
Well,
when I was growing up.
I thought that was a book. Wasn't
No,
that?
yeah,
book?
but
it
it
was
was-
several books, but it was a song.
DC Talk put all the effort to have that book produced.
Now, mind you, I'm probably the only one here that even knows who DC Talk is.
I have
You
no
would
idea.
know
Toby Mac.
Toby Mac,
Okay.
the guy that is the black guy that leads for Newsboys.
Oh, I can't think of his name. Did he kind of get off of? He's kind of doing his own solo thing now, isn't he? Or
Now, as far as I know, he's still in Newsboys. He tried to go solo by himself before, and he didn't really do any good.
okay.
But those two, and then the other guy, I don't even think is in gospel or whatever they call it anymore.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I mean, I'm just talking about the original. Like, I like bluegrass gospel too. You said the Isaacs. That's one of the people I go to. Actually, Mariah. There's a song on my phone right now that I play for Mariah that I want to drive her nuts. It's their medley they do, and I love it so much, and it's so good. But Mariah can't stand bluegrass, so I just turn it on to torture. But I don't know. I don't know what it is, but there's something about a banjo. It is my favorite instrument to hear over everything.
It's I understand what you're saying about you love it or hate it, but as far as a musician, whether you like bluegrass or not, you have to appreciate the complexity that is
Yeah,
inside
for
of
sure.
bluegrass
There's-
because it is one of the hardest genres to play.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And as a musician, any musician, whether you like it or not, is very. They like, you have to give them props. You have to give them respect when you're doing stuff on the mandolin like they do.
Yeah.
like that double pick. That's talent. Or
Oh, yeah,
how
for
fast
sure.
they can get their fingers moving on a banjo. If they're not strumming a banjo, they're actually finger picking. I mean, that is absolute talent. And they play at speeds, like on flat top guitars.
Oh yeah,
Like I said, it is talent. I think what turns people off, and this is just how it is with bluegrass, it's a different voice than what a lot of nasally
It seems
singing.
yeah, that's what I was about
a
to
lot
say.
of nasally singing.
It's a lot of yodeling with
to
crazy.
a degree.
Yeah, I can't stand the.
So I was and still am Ricky Skaggs, Doyle Lawson, and Quicksilver. I like the Isaacs, but my favorite has been Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver. Now, Ricky Skaggs doesn't have all gospel, so I only listen to his gospel stuff. And
Yeah.
Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver, they are mostly gospel with some country, so obviously you have to watch that. But with anything, especially nowadays, it doesn't matter who you listen to. There's some mixture in there anymore.
They always
careful.
toil the line a lot.
Yeah.
But I will say, so Brother Ryan and Brother Sean are both musicians and they can play music. I am not. I'm not a musician. I'm not musically inclined. But I will say this. We were talking about resolutions a couple of episodes ago. I have a bucket list. And the number one thing on my bucket list is I want to learn how to play the banjo before I die. I want to learn so bad just because I love the
You
instrument.
just got to pick the hardest string instrument just about to play.
That's what I know that. That's what but
Yeah,
it's
I personally think with anything, if you're ever going to learn anything guitar-wise, learn the flat top first because that gets you your rhythm. If you don't have rhythm, you're not going to play anything. You got to have rhythm.
Yeah. And I mean, as a guitar teacher, plug in here, sponsored by Sean Brumfield. I do teach guitar. If y'all want to know, just reach out to me. I can get you set up.
Can you
we
pick
do
a
the
banjo?
Zoom, we do the.
Can
I
you
have a
pick-
banjo. Actually, I have a banjo that's like 110 years
you
old.
showed me it.
Yeah, that was my grandfather's. But the funky thing about banjo is that it's tuned
Different.
to G. It's an open G chord. So
Happy New Year.
It's not. Well, it's still. We're still in 2025. We got to wait one more minute.
it's a,
Oh, yeah. That clock throws me off all the time.
I completely forgot because I said I was going to do it, and I completely
Sorry,
forgot.
guys. That goes back to where my ADD kicked in the last episode.
they
before
told me they were
Brother
going to do it. And I
Pasquarella.
was really hoping they weren't going to, but and you would know if you don't understand, you have to go back and listen to a couple episodes. But the crazy thing about banjo is that it's tuned to an open chord. So to change your chords, you pretty much have to bar down the neck
Yeah.
and make your different keys.
So I was talking about that group a little bit ago, and when they were, I watched it on YouTube, the Letterman show. One of the things I didn't know, which I've asked musicians about it, he was twisting and tuning as he was playing.
Yeah.
And he had I think it's the tuning nozzle or the handle thing. What is it called?
A tuning peg.
Yeah, the tuning peg. But it wasn't on the tail end of the guitar. It was in the middle. Of
Yeah, they have that one.
So their first string, or in tablature would be
now
sixth
tapping your
string.
ear.
Oh. Now it's 2026.
But on their tabs, it would be their fifth string. So their top string, I believe, is an open G, and it's set down because it's weird. That top string is the thinnest string on the entire banjo, and then the rest of them kind of go down by thicker, and then get down to the least thickness. So it's a strange instrument, and actually, it's not an instrument. It's actually from Africa. It's a stringed instrument that was brought over by slaves, and because it's a percussive instrument as much as it is a stringed instrument.
I didn't know that. So and I wouldn't want to strum it. If I learned it, I wanted to learn to pick the three finger pick.
There's a couple. Well, they have a standard roll, and they have a thing called bear claw, and it's where you play. They have these weird picks that you put in your finger, the finger picks.
Yeah.
And they come down, they curl around the bottom of your thumb, so it kind of comes off a 90 off of your thumb pointing down, and then on your two picker fingers, which is your index finger and your middle finger, there's this pick that's a brass pick that goes up, and what it does is it follows the contour of your fingertip, and from there, that's where you get that's why it's such a ringy sound, is from those picks.
So my favorite one to hear, especially with somebody that's really, really good at it, is the steel. I love the steel and I love the dobro. Dobro, I've got one at the house. It was given to me by Brother Green. I absolutely love it. But it's like I said, it's just one of those deals. You just got to learn how to.
Yeah,
it's different.
Well, I've become accustomed to good steel guitar playing because at Miami's.
You guys have a tremendous steel guitar player.
Brother Jerry Blair is phenomenal.
There's only two people that I can think of that plays, Brother Jerry Blair, and then Brother Eddie Harper.
Yeah,
at
Victory plays.
Yeah,
and they're the only two guys that I've heard play, and they can fit to any genre. They don't have to just simply play. That old Southern gospel country kind of sound.
Now, with the steel guitar, is that usually a lead instrument, or is it an accompanying?
I think you can use it either way.
Okay.
It depends.
Brother Jerry plays it he's pretty much the lead. Now with Buddy there, they go back and forth.
It depends on the style of the player.
Yeah.
So if you have some steel guitar players will be complementary to the lead, and the lead guitar take it. But others, they can be complementary, which the lead guitar is also. Music is a tremendous thing because everything has its place, but everything can also be complementary. Yeah. That's what makes music so wonderful. You can have a lead guitar, and a lead guitar could be complementary to everything else, and then it could be the main thing out there. It all just depends on how you guys play together.
And to be honest with you, I mean, a steel guitar, most of the time, they're not going to play a standard chord the way that you would hear. Like on a flat top, you would hear all the strings at once. And what a steel guitar will do is it will go in and pick individual notes out of a chord and make it more sound like a melody. So it's not an instrument. It can have a lead run. It can take control of the song. But for the most part, it's going to sit in the background and just add a couple pretty notes to the song to just make it kind of, add a cadence to the song to make it, sweeter.
Now, I will say, so just like I said, I'm going to ask questions about music now that we're on it. On the steel, on Brother Jerry's steel, I see he's got like levers underneath it that he uses his legs for. Is that kind of like what you would use when you're using? Is that kind of like how you do a guitar with your fingers on the neck, or
no?
What they are, some of the pedals are for dampening a note to where you get
like on a piano.
Well,
no, piano.
Not necessarily.
If you put the pedal down on the piano, it kind of draws that note out.
Yeah, it allows it to sustain. Where you just hit the piano and let go of it, the note deadens. Mm-hmm. Whereas what'll happen, it's like if you mute, some of the pedals are to like mute the strings, so you would have a nice pretty chord, and then the rest of them are gonna, some of those levers are gonna make it like a tick, tick, tick when it hits the string, so you get a note along with a percussive sound. but other levers are to bend that string up, up a whole step, up a half step, or even bring down, a note to make it, that sound that you get out of what we would call the steel sound.
So I'm assuming your favorite instrument's a lead, right? Because that's what you play. You play primarily as lead, right?
My best instrument is probably bass guitar. Like if I was to sit and somebody's like, would you play studio? I do lessons, man. I'm just kidding. That's another plug.
Do you want to learn how to play the bass?
Yeah.
Brother Sean Brumfield.
Yeah. If it's got strings on it, I can just about play it. No, but bass is like if I was to sit in a studio with somebody and they'd be like, "What are you most comfortable with?" Like, give me the bass. I can most definitely hit that. Lead guitar for me is just a fun instrument to take off on and just have a ball. I mean, if we're having a crazy service and like the music's really going, I'd rather be on lead because it's more fun. But if we need somebody that's going to be steady and carry the song, I'd rather be on bass.
It's pretty good there where we're at with Sharonville because we're blessed with musicians. I think we have 4 bass players that I know of. 5, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
We've got 2 piano players. We've got
plus the upcoming piano players too.
Yeah, we've got 3 drummers, several flat top players.
Oh, we got more than just 3 drummers. I think we're pushing. I think we're pushing 5 or 6 drummers.
We got a lot of the young ones coming up, which is awesome. I love that. They got a lot of young ones learning the piano. The bass is not any of the young ones coming up with the bass, but it's just people that already knows how to play. I wish they would,
because me and Carlos are tired of playing it.
Yeah.
I just feel like the bass I know it's for the most part it's pretty. I mean, it controls the tempo and helps control the tempo and stuff like that. But the bass seems so interesting to me because there's different ways you can slap it, you can strum it, just the different ways you can play a bass.
If a bass doesn't listen to you, you got to slap it.
And
put it in line, man. Make it do what you want it to do.
The bass guitar, it depicts what genre you're playing. You could have everybody just about play the same thing as far as a rhythm side, and then your bass player can change his rhythm and change it up a little bit, and you're stepping into a whole different side of things. The bass is exactly what it says. It's the foundation of music.
So with all this being said, and we got into bluegrass music, do you guys have any favorite artist? So before we get into that, the one thing that I'm noticing in today's day, and obviously Christian music's all I listen to.
Yeah.
But what people call country today is not country. They rap in country, and I don't.
It's more
obviously.
poppy.
I don't listen to it.
Well, I hear it in stores. You hear it in stores.
Yeah,
you hear it in offices.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, they're
whatever.
rapping and everything like that. So genres and stuff is kind of changing.
They're blending
away from the Johnny Cash days and all that stuff. So with that being said, there's new artists coming up today. Different things, Southern gospel, bluegrass, whatever. Do you guys have an artist that you're really liking right now?
I mean, to be honest,
man, I was going to say Jelly Roll, but I can't.
No.
It's my favorite Christian artist.
That's your favorite donut. No, I like the old Southeast Kentucky Mass Choir is one. I don't listen to a ton of music. This is where a lot of people find me weird. Like if I'm driving in the car, I don't have the radio on.
The Southeast Choir, like the.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't listen.
Dude, the radio is on when I'm driving 24/7.
I do not.
I listen to mostly podcasts when I'm driving, to be honest.
Really?
With you. Yeah.
See, okay.
I sit in silence. Is that weird?
No. Some people like the sound of silence.
That's me.
Simon and Garfunkel were all about the sound of silence.
Who's that?
Yeah, old school people back in.
No, I heard. I've heard that. I heard the when I wasn't in church. I heard the remake done by a rock group. That was really good.
That wasn't that long ago.
It was too. That was like 2010.
Well, there's another one, and it's not a rock group. It's more of a punk group.
Anyway,
Are you serious?
my favorite. Yeah, don't look it up now. my favorite up and coming person right now is Zach Williams.
I like
I'm finding myself listening to his music quite a bit.
I learned a lot of my acoustic guitar licks from listening to.
How in the world
Zach
did I hear
Williams.
that? It was 2015.
I don't know.
How did I hear that? Wow. Must have came across somewhere else. I don't know. I don't listen.
Distracted. No, I'm kidding.
I don't listen to anything.
I listened to it back before
What?
I was saved. That was last year, man. that came out
That's
last
10
year.
years ago, actually.
What,
That's crazy.
what song in particular from Zach Williams do you like?
Oh man.
Ben Fuller's good too.
I didn't ask about Ben Fuller. I asked about Zach Williams.
Well, I'm
So-
just throwing
No, I'm
in.
just kidding.
I don't know the name of. I've got one that's actually my alarm in the morning, and it's a guitar. I'll have to look that one up. But on the way here, there's the one. It's called "Empty Grave."
That's a new one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of his newer ones.
Yeah.
Stand Up. That one is a good one. And then also the one that I love because I love the music. And if you've not listened to it and you like music, it's bluesy. And it's got that, it's not Southern gospel, so it's contemporary.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys,
CCM.
but I kind of like it. But
Ooh, living on the edge.
You're doing better than me, apparently. huh?
Slave, yeah. I'm not listening to punk rock bands singing anyway. Slave to Nothing,
Yeah, that's a good one.
dude.
It's an older one.
That
yeah.
one there is one of my favorite because of the sound.
Yeah. I think my favorite one is To the Table. You ever heard that one?
I think I have. I just
So
can't.
I'm
Yes.
really bad with song names. I'm learning that because I like Zach Williams,
Okay.
but I don't know any of the song names you're talking about. That's
Well, so you not being a music listener, I would almost say that you probably have heard it on the radio, right?
yeah, most things.
Okay, so if you've
I
listened
don't.
to
I
it,
don't seek out music. I'll
if
be
you've
honest.
listened to it on the radio, he's the chain breaker.
Yeah. If you got,
Okay.
You
got. Yeah, I
that
know.
one.
I know he
He's
does.
got the one
Chainbreaker.
that he sings with Dolly Parton.
There was Jesus.
There was Jesus, yeah.
which would be an awesome song if Dolly Parton went in it.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
kind of ruins the whole.
So those are the songs that a lot of people know him by. I would assume that that's probably the songs that you are more aware
Yeah,
of.
that's the ones I've heard. Yeah, and I know. I've heard "Empty Grave."
yeah.
That rang a bell when you said that.
yeah.
But another one that's kind of contemporary. He's kind of got that Southern gospel country. Is Ben Fuller? I just said that I like him.
So I can't think of anything that he's
So hold on, I'm not going to play it obviously, but I'll tell you a couple of the songs.
he likes him so much that he has to look him up on his phone to
Yeah,
figure out
look up
what songs that he
songs
likes.
it is.
I'm not good at. I just told you I'm not good at names. Who I Am. It's the chord. Who I Am in the eyes of the Father. Who I Am was a son set free.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who I was, I left
Yeah.
at the altar.
Yeah.
I'm yours. I
I
believe.
can't say that I've listened to anything
He
of
hasn't-
his outside of what they play on the radio.
Yeah, those are well. Like I said, that's me. When I do, and the only time I listen is when Mariah's in the car.
Yeah.
But I promise, I just don't listen to music. I don't seek it out.
So what about you?
I love Charity Gill. She is
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
my favorites, and it's she's apostolic or
Yeah.
in that kind of realm. So their music is a little bit more like ours as
Mm-hmm.
far as which don't get me wrong. The disclaimer here: I do not believe in the doctrine that are in some of the songs.
Oh, I was going to
Obviously,
say
there's
that, but
some-
their music's good.
yeah, the music is really good, and I think that's a trap for us as we get into the music and we don't listen to the words of the song. And brother at PFYC last year, Brother Zach Cordell preached a little bit on what music we need to listen to and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how we've accepted some of the apostolic songs into our, talking about being baptized in Jesus' name, and how we don't believe in that. It's not just one person, but as long as we don't get lost inside that thought, I like to listen to it. And from most of the stuff, there may be like one or two songs that I can think of that lean that way, but she has a lot of stuff that is really good. Her bass player Travis Dykes is like, he has his own YouTube channel, and like the stuff that he gives out for like a musician is like pure gold. Like is that, and then if I listen to anybody else, I love the Meadows family. Like when their
Well, I have the Lloyd
CD
CDs
came
too.
out, yeah.
Kevin
So,
Lloyd and their family.
I am a Brock.
Oh yeah,
I
yes.
listen to them. You know, I've got all their CDs saved on my phone. So, just as a disclaimer, and I'll call it out because it's one of those things. I don't listen to myself talk. You know, I'm one of those people that I say something and then people look at me and say, "Do you even realize what you said?" And I'm like, "No, you'll have to tell me, what did I say?"
Yeah.
Listening to this podcast, I realize that there's something I say all the time, and I try to stop it.
What is
But
it?
it just happens. You know this, and then when I say it, because now I've heard myself say it, it drives me crazy.
But if I'm honest,
Yeah, well, I'm always honest.
Yeah,
I don't have to get permission to be honest.
that's
I catch myself going, or like, I use those a lot.
Those are fun too. It's kind of funny listening to yourself. People used to ask me all the times when I was first started preaching, especially. I had some older ministers tell me, you need to listen to yourself preach. And you need to listen because then you can critique and you can perfect. And I don't want to say that there's a craft to preaching, but you do study, you do try to learn, you do try to, I don't want to say perfect it, but I do believe that anything we do with God, we have to put everything into it.
Yeah.
You know, if I want to play music in church, I need to do the best that I can do.
Yes.
And then try to do better, try to learn, try to do. So that's the same way with preaching. You kind of learn how to do things. I try to get better with my use of the English language, you know. Yeah, you guys are laughing
appreciate
because
that.
you've been around me so long. Brother Sean tries to make fun of me and he starts talking like me, you know. That's just how it goes.
Guilty.
But they used to tell me all the time, like, you need to listen to yourself because then you can see what you say, you can see you can pick up your little ticks, you can pick up all your little stuff. And they were, encouraging me so that I would perfect my craft. And I tried to listen to myself once, and I said, Lord, you're going to have to help me perfect the craft because if I keep listening to myself, I'm going to quit.
I'm the same way. I can't listen to myself.
So listen to myself.
I've
Myself on the podcast is like, now I'm sitting here and I'm going, dude, you say all the time. It's like my space filler. I don't say I say
I think that's genuine, and I know we make fun of me for it, which is fine. But if I'm honest, he's my filler. It's just something I feel. I don't know why, because I'm always honest, brutally honest, and stuff. But it's just something I say to fill it. I wonder why your human mind does that. Why does it have to fill in blanks with filler words? That's a good question.
I don't know. I'll have to ask it.
Dude, you are killing me. Even before we started recording, you were on one today. No, I find it interesting with stuff like that. Like, why do we do certain things when we say or when we speak? Why do we do it? Why is there filler? Why do we need to feel like we have to say something in between the blanks?
We all have our ticks.
Yeah,
we really do. I mean, there's stuff that we do that a lot of times we don't even think about it. It just happens.
We don't like feeling uncomfortable, and when you don't have the words right then, you're like, I look like an idiot because you don't have the words.
Well, see, I don't come out that way because I'm used to that feeling.
Well,
I'm serious. Like I've never come across and thought, man, you might actually say something that means something. Most of the time, I'm like, dude, you look like an idiot.
yeah, I just constantly feel that way. Like genuinely, I do. I can relate to that. Like
I'm bashing myself. I'm gonna take the pressure off of you. I'll bash myself.
Well, the thing is I bash myself too. I think genuinely, I really am. I think about things so much. Like, why did you say that? What? Insert foot in your mouth. Like, it's just so crazy.
Can I interject here real quick?
Absolutely.
Because your two filler words mean the exact same thing.
What?
You say, let me be honest and genuinely.
Wow. Do I say genuinely a lot?
You said it like 5 times in the past time you started talking. Yeah.
Really? Yes. See, I can't even notice it. Now I'm going to notice it all the time. Because
By the end of the night, you're gonna be going,
You know,
y'all be sitting here with me because I can't come up with anything fancy to fill that space. It's just,
we got a podcast full of.
But see, you guys talk about listen to yourself on the podcast. I listen to this thing not only for our conversation, but for the editing, and then I will go back and I'll listen to the show to get a listen on the thing or on our
download
platform.
We start with 25 listens. It's all Sean. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3.
Guys, guess what? I listen to this thing 82 times a day.
Thank you guys for all your listens. I really appreciate it. All 1 of them. We've got 50. I was 49.
Yeah.
The brain lag is, you can tell. I don't know what it is about us tonight, but our brains seem like we're lagging behind.
We're lagging and skipping. We gotten good music, and then we went into our how are we messing with our
quirks?
Yeah.
Well, I was asking about artist.
Yeah.
How did we get here?
Because he said, "Let me be honest with you about myself."
Did he really say it?
No, he didn't. But it was funny to say nonetheless.
So, I guess back to music.
The non-musical guy. So let's get back to music here.
Hold on. I know you won't have nothing to say about this.
Okay.
What is your favorite guitar?
Taylor. Well, okay. So to be honest with you.
Aren't you always honest?
Yeah, all the time. No, in reality, I think that each one of them are good for something.
Yeah.
But there are ones that just sound plasticky. You can't play the cheaper ones. You just can't. So my dad was a Fender guy, but that's all electric. If you pick up, to me, I think a Fender flat top sounds a little plasticky. My first guitar I ever owned was a Taylor, but I learned on a Yamaha, and there's some Yamahas out there that sound really good.
My bass is a Yamaha. And I love it.
Yamaha's got a good one. However you say it, Takamine, how I've heard it said like 5 different ways. I still don't know how to say it. They are very good guitars. Obviously, Martin's good. I've never played a Gibson because I can't afford one.
Yeah.
I have to sell a kidney on the black market to own a Gibson. But Taylor's my one that I've always loved. I got my one at the house that I have. It's one of my favorite ones to play. I've got that Ovation. The Ovation at the church is pretty fun too. I really like it. The only problem with the Ovation is getting used to the back.
Oh yeah,
because it's that flat top, but it's the round back.
I hate that.
So my belly sticks out a little too far, and my belly in the back of that guitar fight. And I got used to having to adjust because you have to strum a different way because the guitar kind of curves up. If you ever watch anybody play a round backed Ovation, they don't hold it like a normal guitar because that round back, it's fighting you. And so I got used to having to kind of curve the pick when I was playing, to hit that top string and keep it going. And so the first time I picked up a flat top that didn't roll up, I kept missing the strings because I was used to, I adjusted to that Ovation. But they also have a tendency of sounding plasticky. It all depends.
Well, the backs are fiberglass.
Yeah.
It's not a full solid wood
Right.
guitar. And they have terrible neck dive. Like, that neck is so heavy. It just
and their pickup is hot.
There's no. You have to play it on a flat EQ.
Yeah, there's no give in between. You go just a millimeter up and you're blowing it away a millimeter down and you can't hear it.
Yeah,
it's just. But for what I use it for, it's perfect. Taylor though, like I said, Taylor's kind of my go-to.
Taylor's definitely. Probably the nicest guitar you could get. I know off of Pod and Me. brother Dustin would hit us for not saying Gibson being top
well,
dog.
I don't have enough money in my bank account to buy a Gibson guitar.
My
Anybody want to donate one to me? I'll gladly take it.
my first guitar I got from my dad's father, so my grandfather, and my grandmother gave it to me, and it was a 1951 Gibson J50, and it's not pretty. It's not something I want to play.
Oh, but
and
they
show
sound
off.
good though.
It sounds great. It's busted and disgusted. I mean, it's been scratched and stuff, but I learned to play on that thing, and that neck is so thin.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like it's like I feel like I'm playing a ukulele. It's so little. But as far I'm kind of, it doesn't really matter to me on acoustic guitar. I really like Alvarez. That's what I play when I take out to the church or whatever. I have a Masterworks Alvarez that I really love. But when it goes to a lead guitar, I'm with your dad. It's Fender all the way, 100%.
So when he bought that one amp, that Vox amp, it was all tubes. He couldn't get the sound out of his Fender that he wanted, and so then he started picking up those Gretches.
Oh yeah, those are really nice.
Gretches are sharp, but I think they're made by Gibson, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're a lower tier, if I'm not.
I think at one time they were, but I think now they're kind of more standalone because now Gibson has Epiphone.
Yeah, I knew Gibson had Epiphone, which you can get some nice Epiphones out there.
I got one up there on the wall.
Yep.
I know you're looking at us like, what in the world?
I like turtles.
I like turtles.
No, I was curious. So obviously, I know the neck would have a big implication on how the guitar sounds. But with a thinner neck to a thicker neck or a heavier neck to a lighter neck, what is the difference there?
It's all your grip.
Okay.
The neck, if it's a thin neck, it's easier to get your fingers around and to move it around. If it's a thicker neck, it takes a little bit more effort to get your fingers where you need them to be to play the chords. So you could have clarity of sound and not really be clear because you can't get your fingers up there without laying on the other strings. It also depends on how close the strings are to the neck.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. My mom was a guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a Martin 12-string that she loved playing. She actually didn't really like
12 strings is a whole nother beast.
She doesn't. I
got one just like your Ovation.
Really?
Yeah.
She likes playing. She liked the acoustic guitar better, but she had that 12-string, and she had tried to learn how to play it, but she had an accident where she did some damage to her wrist, so it was a lot harder for her to play. But she had that Martin 12-string, and it sounds really good. Even you just strum it, it sounds good. It hasn't been tuned or anything like that. But
12 strings have their place. I mean, they can be pretty sounding guitars, but just to play a 12-string or just to play it like a rhythm guitar, I would just stick with the 6.
They are more for a Christmas service and Easter service. Not to tell you if I've ever seen one played during those times. No, I've never ever seen anybody just pull one out and start playing with it. But I have played Mary Did You Know is one of my favorite Christmas songs, and I played it on a 12-string, and it was awesome.
Brother Jason Hoskins right now is falling out.
Cringing,
with you.
I know he is.
Mary knew. He told us that when we did that interview. That was his least favorite song. I will say my least favorite version of that is Zach Williams.
Oh, dude, that was awful. It was terrible.
Yeah, that was awful. It was horrible.
I don't think I've ever heard him do that song.
Oh, it's not good.
Well, it
not
wasn't on the radio.
10 out of 10. Do not listen.
It's Danny Goki that does the contemporary version of that now. He's more modern. I know he's a K-Love artist, which, like I said, there's probably going to be people that fall out with me, but there's not. I listen to WGNZ, which is a local station in Dayton. Tim Livingston. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Mm-mm. He's his dad was big, so he has it's all Southern gospel. That's the only thing they play, and the only places you can get it are like in the Dayton area, because as soon as you get like close to Miamisburg and south of that, it gets real. You
fuzzy.
Get the static.
Yeah, well, that's probably why we can't hear it, because we're south of. Well, you're on 73 and I'm south of 73.
Yeah, so you can't. I doubt you would even be able to pick it up. But so it's all Southern gospel. But I think even if you like hear that, they play the Danny Gokey version.
Yeah.
And Danny Gokey was, I think he competed on American Idol. I could be completely wrong on this.
I don't know. I'm not a Danny Gokey fan.
Yeah, me neither.
So yeah, I just that's the one that I hear on the radio now.
You keep talking about Southern gospel. Who's your favorite Southern gospel artist?
I have to be in the mood, but I like quartet music.
Okay, so
Like the
who's
Kingsmen,
who's your
or-
favorite quartet?
So old Brian Free and Assurance. I
Okay.
like them.
I like Brian Freed in any mix.
Yeah, so I would say probably all. If you looked at my phone right now and you looked at all my like who has the most, I have a Gold City song that I'm not
Yeah.
Dude, I grew up with the old Gold City. That would be probably my favorite quartet.
but I would say Brian Free would probably
You guys probably wouldn't have heard any of the people that I grew up on.
who
The Singing Cooks, the McCamies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard all of them.
Yeah. So my favorite quartet's the Freemans.
For a minute, I thought you were getting ready to tell us that you like the Bishops.
No, I like the Kingsmen too.
Oh, the Kingsmen are good. Actually, I went to school with a guy that his grandfather was in the Kingsmen.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
awesome.
so where do we fall on the Gaither vocal band?
I like some of their songs.
I like the stuff when like Guy Penrod was in it and Michael English was in it, but I don't really I can't say I've ever listened to anything past like 2010.
So I will say, here's my if I'm going to listen to not so I don't always listen to contemporary Christian on here where we're at on the radio. That's mainly
That's all
what
they
you
have,
get to.
really.
Star 93.3, K-Love. They're basically what you have. So if you don't have CDs or if you don't connect your phone to something, that's kind of the realm that you have unless you listen to talk radio, which I know a lot of people listen to talk radio. So if I'm hooking up my phone, a lot of times it's the Brocks, the Boggs, brother Davey Boggs,
Yeah.
sister Kelly, sister Odie. Been listening to them. They're some of my favorite as well.
Phenomenal.
I love the live CD that they did. That was an outstanding CD. I was never a big Gaither vocal band thing, but here's my fallout with Southern Gospel. They've got some really dumb songs.
And they're boring.
Well, a
Some
lot
it's
of them
boring.
Yeah.
I'm looking through my phone. Another group that sticks out is Grace Church and Family. I like them.
Yeah, they're good.
The like songs like Somewhere Between Jesus and John Wayne, which I know that's an older song.
I've never heard that.
Are you serious?
I've never heard that. Somewhere between Jesus
Yeah.
and John Wayne.
Yeah. Basically, this guy is saying that his mentality, he stands somewhere between Jesus and John Wayne. And obviously, if you don't know who John Wayne was, he's that rough, tough, I don't take nothing off of nobody
did
cowboy. Was it the
Was it the
Gaithers? I think it was.
I like the Martins, another group.
There's another one too that is really, really hilarious because my imagination is what it is. It is Jeff Easter, and he's singing it with somebody else, and it's Here Comes Jesus Calling My Name. Have you ever heard that song?
I've heard a lot of Jeff Easter.
There's one verse, and I don't know it. I don't know it verbatim, but one verse says, I'm working on the house, something to this nature. It kind of alludes to the fact that he's working on the house and he smashes his thumb, and you know what that does. And right before I open my mouth to cuss, here comes Jesus calling my name. It kind of paints this picture like he's wearing this cape and he's dressed like Superman, and he's like, doo doo doo, here I come to save the day. It messes with my imagination, so it is awful.
That sounds horrible. The plot.
But it's one of those songs that I'm like, I don't know why I listen to it. It's so dumb.
Probably because it's funny.
That's why I have a hard time with especially new Southern gospel. Old Southern gospel, they had some really good songs. Old Southern gospel,
Gerald Crabb.
yeah, but
I like the
Old Gerald Crabb.
I like.
I'm
the
not
old
talking about
Crabb
his like
family.
new stuff, but like
I like Old Crab Family.
he's one of my
Yeah.
favorites, man.
pre TBN,
Yes, like
there was a whole lot of stuff that happened there though.
Oh yeah.
Can I just say something about Jason Crabb? I know he's a phenomenal singer, but the faces he makes when he sings are horrible. It looks like it looks like he is.
He looks horrible. He looks like he's like just wandered up on stage, like he was just walked out of a back alley, got up on stage with somebody.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen him recently, but like when you like through the fire, everyone's or what is it? Through just hold on, our Lord.
Yeah, that's through the fire. Yeah,
that one where he's in the tan suit. That's the one that everyone goes to. That's like the original, like when he's in the tan suit. I think that is Gaither. It's at a Gaither homecoming that he did it.
I don't know. They did a lot of live shows. Yeah, where they were in.
Well, he was in it. It was like he was young. He was very, very young. So this was before they took off like they did, from what I gather. So that kind of era I like of the Crabb family. I don't like when they went to the like full blown rock and like laser light shows and like I don't do well with that stuff.
Where do we stand on secular artists doing gospel music?
I think it's the dumbest thing in the world.
So explain secular artists doing gospel music.
Like a country artist doing.
It depends on who it is.
You know, like you got the Gaither vocal band Alabama.
It depends on who it is. Because Alan Jackson, when he's got a hymn CD, it's outstanding.
The worst is the Randy Travis Christian songs.
Okay, so
That's
Randy
like
Travis,
Melissa's favorite, and when she turns it on, I'm like, skip right in the middle of the car.
3 wooden crosses.
Randy Travis became a no name in the country world. He was popular back in the day, which I don't understand why, because he sung out of his nose and it was just awful.
That's pretty good, actually, imitation.
But he became a no name in country when he was riding the top. He plummeted, so he became a Christian artist. And when he put his stuff out, I mean, that stuff was flying off the shelves.
Yeah, because the Christians that got saved in the 90s got tired. Remember listening to him back in the 80s.
But so I can't stand his singing.
No.
I don't think the guy can sing.
He's not talented.
He's obviously now, unfortunately, because of life choices, he's not able to sing anymore. So how do you feel about AI recreating? That is awful.
Dude, AI is crazy.
Yeah, but it is horrible.
The only way I know about this is because of Brother Devin's podcast. I got to hear some of it.
Yeah.
And I was with them like, this is awful. Like,
all I got to say is,
the worst.
Here's the deal. Okay? If this is making him popular again, I'm going to start AI singing all my songs and putting some...
Semi-rights.
Okay, so we was coming down the road today on the way here to get ready for the podcast, and there was a song that came on the radio, and Ben was like, leave it here. This is one of my favorite songs. I think it was I'm gonna have a good day in every single way. It's you know,
I'm gonna have a good day.
Yeah. And I told my wife as we was driving down the road,
shining down on me.
Yeah. So I used to say that I sing in church. You know, I help my wife. I back up. I sing every song of the service because I just push the service and I've got my microphone over there. I don't claim to be anything. I don't claim to be a good singer. I just do what I can do. God gave me what talent he gave me, and I try to put my best foot forward. But I've always said, no matter how many songs I lead, I'll never be good enough to ever have enough courage, bravery, backbone, whatever you want to say, to put a CD out there. And then I hear, I'm gonna have a good day every single way.
Yeah,
and I'm like, dude, I could put out a CD.
Could you at least sound like you're having a good day?
The problem is, I think they are trying so hard to sound like the world, and like the influence of like electronic and like pop music is.
Well, I don't even know that. I just think that they can't sing.
Well, it's auto tune. You get a lot of
It's not even auto tune. They're not even in tune half the time they sing it.
Yeah,
I know, and you're right though. By the way, your joke was really funny. Can you at least sound like you're having? Because he doesn't sound like he's having a good
He's
day.
having a good day.
He's
Like, it sounds like
Well,
your
that's how
dog died.
That's how the song goes.
no, that's what he's talking about.
That's
He's
what
talking
I'm
about the
saying.
artist, not you.
You ever been to church and they get up and be like, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. They're like, could you listen to you? I'm gonna close my eyes. You're not even smiling. Like I can hear the pain in your voice of I'm happy.
Yeah.
You're trying to convince yourself you're happy, buddy.
Joy.
That's something we try to get, because we get our young people involved in
yeah.
the services.
Yeah.
And if you ever watch my wife, if she's sitting in the back when the young people are up there singing, she's making faces to them. Like she's smiling, she's doing head bobs. You can ask Brother Sean, sometimes I can't look back there when she's doing it because she's making me laugh. And she's trying to get them, because young people, they're scared.
Absolutely.
Not scared like, if I don't sing there, I'm going to get in trouble. It's nerves. I mean, everybody fights
Yeah.
that nervousness. And we're not putting on a show, so it's not like we've got this creepy smile and we're just smiling at everybody as we sing. You know, like, hey,
Jesus loves
I hit this,
you.
I hit this note, so I've got this creepy smile. Like, yeah, you're gonna get in with me, aren't you? I'm gonna stare at the person next to me and sing in their face, because that's what we do in worship.
You got that fake
That's not-
smile on you. Pull out your nine. You're like,
Well,
enjoy fellowship with me.
Well, it's like if you're gonna sing about the joy of the Lord, you kind of need some joy.
need to sell it.
You have to have some joy, but that's like something that you deal with throughout church all the way around. So we get our young people and we're trying to tell them, guys, when you sing like you're actually,
So,
you're actually feeling that
the
you're
meaning of-
happy.
listen to the
This
words of the
is-
song and
to talk about how unhappy our young people are. Last Sunday, our brother Ryan had just got done preaching, and they were done praying around the altars. And I looked over at one of my young men, and I looked over at him, and I took both my fingers and I went like this. I just shoved it right in his corner to get them to smile. And he just looked at me like, I am not moving.
So I went over to him and I said, hey, he's telling you to smile. And I was praying with somebody that was praying behind him, and I'd whisper in his ear, like, he's telling you to smile. And he kept looking at me, and I was like, dude, you look better if you smile. And he smiled, and he said, bruh. Like,
bruh.
I'm not no bruh.
I'm the pastor.
It's brother. Are you that lazy to get that out of your mouth?
I just tell you what, man, it's so funny because it's like they just literally sit there. Sometimes people sing and they don't feel a word they're singing, and it's not all about emotion, and not to get like all of a sudden super duper serious, but if you don't feel with what you're singing, don't expect the congregation to feel what you're singing.
In a way, in order to worship, you kind of have to put on a good performance.
Well, it's not even so much a
It's
good
not
performance.
performative.
You have to. You can. I've felt the anointing or the power of the Holy Ghost fall down on somebody that couldn't drop as we say, they couldn't hold a tune in a bucket.
Exactly.
They couldn't sing on key. They couldn't sing on time. They couldn't do anything. But they had something driving
They were
their
anointed.
singing. They had something. You do. You're not performing,
No,
but you
that's
are.
not what I mean, but
you do have to have something driving what you're doing.
What I'm saying is, like, I'm not saying that you have to get up there, do a shimmy, kick a leg up in the air one way or the other, and let
Man,
it
that's what I
go.
was going to try Sunday.
Brother Ryan does it in his preaching sometimes to get us awake us up.
Hey,
but-
look, I'm going to tell you right now, if you ever see me kick my leg up in the air, you know for a fact I'm limping when I leave.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, like, you have to.
I'd like to see you try to do that.
No, you wouldn't.
I would like to see that.
We'd be carrying them out, man. But
Stretcher,
what I'm
call
saying is,
911. I forgot my life alert bracelet. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up.
but what I'm saying is, we need to back to the just like being a musician and learning to play. I can't stand it when we have a practice and nobody has listened to the song at all and just going in there blindly. Like,
Yeah.
you're not doing the song justice. You're not doing God justice. You're not practicing it to perfect it to where it's going to give glory to God. And when we sing, it's not that I'm not talking about putting on a performance to sell out and make tickets, but I mean, I want people to know that what I'm singing about is something that I'm excited about. When I play music, you know, it's like people get on to me all the time for the faces that I make when I play guitar. Well, I'm sorry if you're bending up your strings and you're not making an ugly face with it, you ain't feeling it. You're not trying to get in and worship with it.
No,
that's just the thing, you know.
Like I said, to me, it all goes back to I'm feeling what I'm living. You know, there's a feeling, there's an emotion behind it to, and I'll say this, I think we said it from day one, we've dealt with this in the podcast, so we're not going to get repetitive, but there is an emotion to what we do. There's an emotion to how we feel.
There is emotion to Pentecost. Absolutely.
You feel it, it burns deep within you, all that stuff. I've always wondered what people would do if I came in. I'm like, okay, guys, we're just going to get in here, we're just going to worship the Lord.
I've used an illustration before where literally I went in front of the pulpit on the altar and I sat there silently and I just stared at the congregation. And it's like, this is the part where it's like, it gets so like, and it's not all about performance. And we were talking about perfecting our craft. Practice makes perfect, right? And if you care about something enough, if you want to be, and everything we're supposed to do, we're supposed to give it our best effort for the glory of God. If you are not putting in the practice, if you're not putting in the time, if you're not putting in the effort, you're not giving your best to God. So you just have to, like, I think that's the hard part. It's like, it's not that we want you to be performative, and it's not that you need to over sing where you're doing the runs and the all over the place but be happy.
Back in the day with the old timers, they a lot of them didn't have the education that we have today.
Right.
A lot of them didn't have the teaching that we had today. A lot of them didn't have access to the preaching and even the study that we have today. There's a lot of stuff opened up to us. Technology has made that good. You know what I mean? But a lot of those old timers, they come out. Brother Edgar Kelly, he's known very well in the South Lebanon area. He founded several churches. In fact, the church that I was raised in, they brought me home from the hospital. That's the church that I was raised in. My grandpa pastored there for 14 years of my life. That's where I cut my teeth. It's where I've got my first experiences. That's where I've got some of the fondest memories of revivals growing up. It was all there in South Lebanon. That was founded by Brother Edgar Kelly. That man came in from the hills of Kentucky, didn't even know what a fire engine was.
Yeah.
He got a job at just some old stories. He got a job working and heard something, one of the awfulest sounds he ever heard, and then seen something fly down the road. And so he wandered off the job as a construction guy. He wandered off the job and he followed. It was a fire truck.
Yeah.
And his boss came back. You know, he finally came back to the job site and his boss was like, "Where'd you go?" And he's like, "Man, I seen this." So his boss said, "Take a week, go view. We want you to come back and work for us. Go view all this stuff." He was also in the time where the electric doors were starting to become popular, but then you had to stand on the mat. So you stand on the mat, the door would open. You get off the mat, the door would close. And he never seen that. He stood on the mat, the door opened, he jumped off and he went, "Praise God." And he stood on the mat, the door would open, he jumped off, he said, "Praise God." And finally the clerk seen him do this a couple times. And she come outside, she said, "Sir, do you need help?" And he said, "I'm just praising God. He keeps opening doors for me," because he didn't understand. But without any of that stuff, they had something. They had an unction. They had something that drove them to be able to do that stuff. That's something that we need to carry on. Is that?
And the thing is too, you know, the elders, they could play music and they could sing because God showed them how to do it.
Yeah.
But the pastor I grew up under, when they started their church, they started in a garage, and they went, and it was just him, his wife, and his two kids until, you know, the Lord started sending people. And they were like, "Well, we need to have some music in this place." So he learned how to play flat top, and his wife was like, "Well, I need to learn how to play piano." And, you know, at that time, YouTube was not heard of. They didn't have just, you know, piano for dummies or, you know, that kind of stuff. So she was like, "Lord, I really need you to teach me how to play this." And would you know it, the Lord taught her how to play piano in her dreams.
Oh, yeah.
She would have a dream, and the Lord would teach her a song, and she'd be able to get up the next morning and be able to play that same song.
But now God has provided Sean Brumfield with the ability on Zoom to teach you how to play guitar.
Yeah. And so if you want to learn how to play guitar or bass, Brother Sean Brumfield is teaching classes.
Brought to you by Sean Brumfield Studios.
Yeah. But it's something that we try to do. We got to try to do the best. Everything. And it goes that way with anything. If I'm working a job and I don't put any effort towards it, my job's not going to keep me.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm married to my wife and I don't put my best foot forward, my wife will keep me, but she's not going to be very happy. You know, you just got to work on everything.
And it can lead to a lot of stress.
Yeah.
It can lead to a ton of stress.
For sure. Well, I know we're getting to the end here, but I wouldn't feel right if we didn't bring on our last sponsor here. These guys keep sending me ads and are like, will you air these? And I'm like, sure. I mean, I'll try. We'll see what happens with it. So I hope you guys enjoy this one.
So, the man I met the other day, this man, he says to me, oh, I am so tired, so stressed from work. I just need some peace and quiet time. So I said to this man, yeah, mein Herz brennt for you. You should spend some time at the Feel Better Bed and Breakfast. They have all the fancy things, like bagels, oyster dip, bacon and eggs, toast with jam. It is a wonderful place to stay. I said to the man who said to me that he was stressed, hello, I am Fluby Snifflin, owner, chef, gardener, handyman, secretary, amateur painter, and groundskeeper of Feel Better Bed and Breakfast. If you want a good time without hassle, no one likes hassle, just call now and make a reservation. We now offer room services. You can choose sausages on rye bread, sausages on whole wheat bread, a pretzel, sausages and sauerkraut, big pretzel and some cheese, sausages and the house waffle, Wiener and chili with no ketchup. Our goal is to make you never want to leave. Our number is simple. Just dial 876-FLUSNIFL. We hope to see you soon. Guten Tag.
Wieners and no ketchup.
There you go.
Can I tell you something? He had me and I was sold and I was going to stay there until he said you couldn't have ketchup with your chili. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Guys, if you don't want any hassle in your life, make sure to go to the Feel Better Bed and Breakfast.
Dude, that's so funny.
Oh, dude.
man.
I love those. Absolutely. Well, I've enjoyed this episode. I've enjoyed being able to sit here, talk about music with everybody here. And, you know, like I said, if you want to learn guitar, reach out to me here. Yeah, start with a plug. We'll end with a plug. But, yeah, if you're enjoying these episodes, feel free to leave a comment on whatever platform you're listening to. You can send us an email at pulpittothepew@gmail.com. And then you can also find us on Facebook. So I appreciate everybody tuning in today.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.